Hey, welcome to Speakeasy. I'm your host, Russell Peters, and today we have Anthony Jeselnik on the show. Hello, Anthony. Nobody here to clap. Hi.
No one. Yeah, it's just me and you.
It was a really awkward handshake.
This is an awkward date.
It was.
Is what this is. This is strange. I feel like if I should like go home and cancel my OkCupid account after this.
Well, you know, if this goes well. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a whiskey smash they've made for me. Yeah, I don't drink a lot of cocktails, but when I'm in New Orleans, I go to brunch at this place called Commander's Palace, and I have like 100 of these.
And do they get you lit?
Mm-hmm. Lit, but you also feel like you're replenishing your fluids. You know what I mean? It's refreshing as well as full of whiskey.
It's a hydrating alcohol. Let me taste that.
Taste it.
Is your straw clean?
Actually, I haven't touched a straw.
All
Go
right.
for the straw.
Yeah.
No, not
Tastes like
fan.
a garden.
I threw up in a Starbucks on Sunday. That's how drunk I got.
Yeah, you were in Texas?
I was in Texas, yeah. I did Houston, Austin, and Dallas this past weekend.
I love Texas.
Why?
I don't know.
What do you love about it?
I feel like it could actually be its own country.
They think you might be Latino, so they accept you a little more?
No, I don't know what they think. I think they just stare at me sideways anyway, but I don't care.
No, I love it. Dallas is fun. I got to say fuck the Cowboys at the end of my set,
Nice.
which made 15,000 people boo me. That's fun.
That's good. Mm-hmm. That's how you know they were paying attention.
Exactly.
How would your sets go? Did they go well?
They went great. Of course. You've seen me. You know what I do.
Your new special's out?
Yeah, a new special just came out on Netflix, Thoughts and Prayers. It's been well received, I think.
Talk about it. Let me hear about it.
Got a lot of great jokes, Russell, you know how I do. And at the end, I kind of talk about why I get into these horrible things, like why I talk about dark comedy.
How long have you been doing stand-up now?
13 years.
Oh, so you're a newbie.
Yeah,
Wow,
I'm not a vet yet.
I'm 26 years in, yeah. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, when'd you start?
89.
Holy.
Yeah. So,
Wait, yeah, it adds up.
Yeah, it adds up.
I'll buy it.
You were what is that, 2000 and...
2002.
Oh, yeah. Right after 9/11.
That's what inspired me. I thought, you know what, I can top that. You know, let me get out there.
You think that's a bombing? Well, do you remember your first set?
Yes, first set at the Comedy Store, Belly Room.
Oh, you were out here already?
Yeah, I started out here. I was here for like a year, and I wanted to be a joke writer. And I was like, someone was like, if you want to be a joke writer, go out and do stand-up because you can tell people your jokes instead of having them to read them. Nobody wants to read anything in this business.
Right.
So I did stand-up, and the first set, I remember killing. I remember being like, oh my God, I know how to do comedy. This is amazing. I just know how to do this. And I went up on stage like a week later at an open mic and bombed so badly that I had like a panic attack, like I was shaking. And I couldn't get on stage again for months. I would go to open mics and wait in my car. And then the movie Comedian came out. You remember that with Jerry Seinfeld?
Jerry Seinfeld,
and that was just like a how-to guide. It was like just write every day and go up every night, no matter what. The more you bomb, the better you'll be.
Yep.
And then I just never looked back.
You moved out here to become a comedy writer.
No, I moved out here just to like find a life. I didn't know what I was gonna do.
Okay, so you just left Pittsburgh and like, fuck it?
I went to school in New Orleans.
That'll do.
I went to school in New Orleans, then came here to try to dry out after 4 years in New Orleans. And after a year, was just like, I don't know what I want to do. If I could do my dream job, what would that be? You know, when you're a kid, you don't know what's going on.
It's true.
You're just trying to find your way. So yeah, got into open mics because that way you could like go out. You could be bad at stand-up and still work. You could still make friends and be social. If you're a bad actor, you're just sitting at home waiting for someone to call you. Yeah.
My first set was horrible. Like, I had no fucking clue what I was doing.
I believe you.
You son of a bitch. I was shit. I was 19. I had no clue.
How bad was it? Just like no laughs at all?
I didn't have any jokes. I didn't know, you know, I was just basing it off of making my friends laugh.
Yeah.
And that's why when I meet people, they're like, oh, you got to put me on your show. I'm hilarious. You guys are my friends. I'm like, yeah, I'm not asking your friends.
I had one joke in my first act on stage that I ended up using in the Donald Trump roast.
Oh, really?
So I was like, wow, like I was that good that I could have already had this joke. So I went back and watched it like a year ago, thinking like maybe there's other gold in there, and it was so awful. Like I remembered it being amazing. Like I remembered killing and being like, I know how to do comedy, and it was awful.
You're getting that love from the audience. You're like, this feels great.
Yeah, but you're like, it's because they've just seen 8 other people who've never done stand-up before either, and you're just the best one.
You always got to gauge it against who you're working against.
Exactly.
So Anthony.
Yes, Russell.
Bombing? I can only imagine that it happens periodically because of the world we live in right now.
Sure, I don't bomb the way other people bomb. You know, I feel like if I'm bombing, I'm not having fun, but I don't have like a fallback plan. You know, it's just like joke. People can get upset with me. The only time I feel like I'm bombing is if I turn on the crowd. And I'm like, you sons of bitches, you don't understand what I'm doing, I'm amazing. Then I feel like I failed. You know, I should never do that.
Yeah, it's kind of like saying to somebody, do you know who I am? Well,
exactly.
If you have to say that, you're not who you think you are.
Yeah. But it's fun. I think I'm a funny person to watch bomb because it's like funny to see me angry. When I get mad, I think it's even funnier.
It is funny, actually.
Yeah.
What's your worst bombing? Do you remember? Other than that second time on stage.
Oh, God. I remember it was like my first time on the road. I was opening for Doug Benson at Dr. Grin's in Grand Rapids. It was my first time ever on the road. I'm like, how is this going to go? And I didn't realize it was all Christmas parties, every single show. And I just didn't get a single laugh. But at the end of my set, and I was doing every joke that I had to get through this half hour. And at the end, I had this dead baby joke I was closing on that I thought was like the greatest thing ever. And in my head, I'm like,
what is the joke?
The joke is, you don't know anything about pain until you've seen your own baby drowned in a tub. And you definitely don't know anything about how to wash a baby. And I loved this joke. And after bombing for half an hour, I would tell it at the end, and the crowd would just start yelling at me, just start screaming. But I really thought that was gonna bring it back around. We'd be like, oh no, now we realize you're a genius.
Yeah, this is the one that's gonna win you over.
That week was rough, where I thought maybe I can't be a comedian. Maybe this is what my life would be like if I tried to do this on the road for real in front of non-LA people. And then I found out, no, that's just Dr. Grin's on Christmas. You should never be performing there.
Yeah, you're not the festive comic.
I'm not a Christmas show guy. If it's your birthday, you don't want me on stage.
I heard a story about you at Caroline's.
Sure, I've had some interesting shows. Things I can kind of push the audience a little bit when they push back. It's always fun. I did a show at Caroline's a year ago, and it was a packed house, and I'm doing great. And I hear someone talking to the left of me, and it sounds like they might be ordering a drink, but it's going on too long.
I hate it.
I turn over, and it's some girl just standing there, like a young girl, completely wasted with a glass of wine, just talking to me. And I usually have a line when I'm talking to a girl in the crowd who's a heckler. I don't want to make fun of her, because then people will turn on me. So I put it on her boyfriend. And I say, listen, I'm not even mad at you, but your boyfriend needs to handle his business right now. So the guy stands up and says, are you gonna handle me? And I'm like, where's the bouncer? I'm not going to get off stage and fight this guy in the middle of my act, but the bouncer, this huge 8-foot-tall guy, is gone. All of a sudden, I see T.J. Miller. You know T.J. Miller?
Yeah. T.J.'s a big guy, too.
He's a big guy, but he's also pretty drunk, and he's just coming by to see me.
Yeah.
Doesn't know I'm even there. I didn't know he was in New York. He walks in the back of the room, and I say, ladies and gentlemen, T.J. Miller. Crowd starts applauding. I say, T.J., throw this guy out. And T.J., without missing a beat, doesn't ask why, doesn't ask who is this, doesn't say hi, Anthony, just grabs the guy by the back of his neck and throws him out of Caroline's.
It's always a drunk person. I don't want to say it's usually women, but it's a lot of times it's women who just talk really loud when they get drunk, and they forget that there's other people in the audience.
I have women thrown out of my shows a lot, and they say this. They go, he was saying offensive things. Why can't I say offensive things?
Yeah.
They think it's their time to play.
Yeah.
I think guys feel like you're questioning their manhood by being funny. The guys don't ever want to tell you that you're funny. They're like, some of that stuff was pretty good.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting there making everybody laugh for an hour, they start to get mad, then they have to say something.
You should have Jason Rouse open for you. That'll get them nice and
That would be a good opener for me. He would let them know what they're in for.
It'd be like the pretty guy and that guy.
I'm the pretty one?
You would be the pretty one.
Thank you.
What are you working on?
Actually, I have this new thing I've been working on, okay? I'll try it on you. It either kills or it bombs so hard, all right? I have a theory. All right, I have this theory that no matter how awful a tragedy is, there's always one person who is happy about it. Always one. All right, and I'll give you an example. That horrible church shooting in Carolina happened a few months ago. 9 people shot and killed. Horrible tragedy. One person was happy. Do you know who?
Who?
Rachel Dorealis, who was pretending to be black so she could be the president of the NAACP. She was like a laughingstock for weeks before that tragedy happened. Now no one talks about her. So even if she would never admit it, she was happy. So give me one tragedy. Give me any tragedy. Give me something that was maybe personal, something big, something national, and I'll tell you who was happy about it.
This would have been my cat who got out of the house and then got run over on the street as it ran out there.
Not a tragedy.
No? Because you hate cats.
No, that's the whole bit. Whatever you said, whether you would have said 9/11 to the boss, I would have been not a tragedy, and that's it. So if somebody fucks it up and says my cat died, which is not a real tragedy, if you had said 9/11, maybe it would have been funnier.
Yeah,
but it's not a good bit.
Do you sound it out with anybody? You have anybody you talk to? I have Ruben Paul, who will watch me when I'm getting ready and just put my shit in order for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm just doing it scattered all over the place. And then he'll be like, no. Put this here, here, here. And then I do it, and I go, oh my God, that set killed.
I don't like anybody's advice.
I'm same.
I would rather fail on my own merits than have someone be like, oh, if you just said this, you would kill. Then it would be in my head forever.
Yeah, it's more of a, that joke? Put that joke here and that joke here. It's more of a that situation.
Even that
He's an
bugs me.
organizer for me.
Even that bugs me. It feels like someone's trying to put my kids through college for me.
Yeah.
It's like, keep your money. I got this. I almost have the opposite problem now when I tell someone a joke. I'm like, what do you think of this? They laugh so hard. And I'm like, oh, that's a really good joke? And then I try it out in front of a real crowd, and they're like, no. I don't know what. They were lying to you. They were being polite.
Has anybody ever offered you advice? or material?
People love to do that. It always cracks me up when somebody after the show will come like, hey, I got a joke for you. It's like some kid who wants to get into comedy. I'm like, who do you think you are to give me a joke? You know, I mean, I say like, I'll listen to your joke, but it's going to work out badly for you. Like I'm Anthony Jeselnik, and I do it anyway, and it's always terrible. But sometimes a comic will give me a joke, or they're like, hey, can I have a piece of advice for you? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I respect you. I'll let you do that. And even that's a disaster. Like you tried to give me a joke once.
I sure did. This was at the Improv, right?
Yeah. Do you remember what it was?
No, I don't.
I'll never forget it because I think I was hosting or you were hosting.
I was hosting.
You brought me off stage and you like grabbed me and you were like, Anthony, just like I've got a joke for you. And you said it in this way like, I can't believe I just remembered it. Like you've got to hear this joke. And I was like, great. And I went out and I waited for you to get off stage. I waited 10 minutes.
I might have been drunk.
And then I'm sure you were drunk.
Right.
And then you walked up and you went through your phone for 10 minutes while I sat there and you go,
oh, I know the joke too.
You go, this is a great joke. Only you could do this. Only you could do it. I would love to. If I was as edgy as you, I could do it. But, and then you go, something about Make-A-Wish kids.
Yes.
And I was like, that's your advice to me? Is do something about Make-A-Wish kids? Like I don't have files of jokes about Make-A-Wish kids at home. I love it. That's your joke. Like thanks.
It was like
thanks.
it was Make-A-Wish kids because I like children, but not for that long.
You didn't even give me that.
Really?
There was no joke to it. It was just like, here's a premise that I thought.
I probably couldn't find the note, but I know it's in my phone. I could actually.
I close with it now. Thank you. Thank you for that joke.
Do you have any like notes that you wrote down? You're just like, the fuck was I thinking?
Oh, almost all of them. I used to carry around one of those black notebooks in my back pocket, and I called it the Book of Death. Because if I wrote something down in there, it never worked.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're just afraid you're going to forget something.
I have notes on my phone from like 2007, 2008 that are just like, ugh.
I email myself my notes now. That way I have to see it, and like I have to write it down somewhere else and keep thinking about it. Because if I put it in a book, it's gone.
How'd you like doing Last Comic Standing?
I hated it.
Perfect.
Hated every second of it.
Did you really? So you're not going to be back next season?
I told them, I said if you triple my money, maybe I would come back. But I was like, so I gave them gold. Like I changed what that show was, and then they just took it all out. They're like, that was really funny, Anthony, but we can't use it.
Really?
Yeah, I was bummed.
I had a lot of moments where I got taken out of as well.
Did you try to joke around, or were you just trying to?
I was just having fun with it, you know what I mean? Talking and.
Was it? I think it's your job. You had the harder job because you got to kind of like critique the comics.
Right.
I was critiquing the judges. I would make fun of them, and I felt like that was a fun target. But if some kid comes up and like tells us like terrible gluten joke, do you really need to pick that apart? Like you're Russell Peters, you know, you're a legend.
And well,
eventually,
really,
in some countries,
you know, Keenan and Roseanne are the legends. I was the young face out there.
Yeah.
And that's really not a young face.
Yeah, but Keenan's a legend for like having more famous relatives.
Well, you know, for spawning them.
Yeah, yeah. He hated me so much, Keenan.
Did he?
Yeah, he really did.
And like for real, or just your style of comedy?
I think all across the board. Anytime I'd make fun of him, he would just have that smile on his face, like I want to kill you, but I'm not going to say anything back.
Did
like,
he
just
laugh?
go? No, he would just be like,
oh, okay.
And let it go.
What do you got coming up? Road-wise, are you back
I'm
on
done, man. I just finished Oddball. I finished 8 weeks of that tour, which was pretty crazy.
I was asked to do it when they first started it, when they were the first year they were going to do it, and I declined to do it because I always feel like an outsider whenever I get around the comics that I look at as much better comics than myself.
Well, sure. I mean, when there's you and you're very successful, and then there's comics who are like respected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't, like, there's a big gulf
man,
there.
What?
But no, I think you would have had a blast on it. Like, it's a vacation. It's fun to go out and do your hour for your fans, but getting to do like 15, 20 minutes in front of 20,000 people, and you get to hang out with your friends and drink afterwards, that's the fun part. Now, would I want to do it forever? No. But for 8 weeks, it was a blast.
I was a big fan of your show, The Jeselnik Offensive.
Oh, the old Comedy Central show.
The old Comedy Central show. It was a very good show, and I was very disappointed when they canceled it.
Yeah, it was kind of a niche program. You know, they kind of wanted to be like a big, like we want everyone to be on board with this, and I was like, I'd rather do kind of crazy dark things. But I think it's people seem to like it. The longer it's been off the air, I get more compliments.
Yeah, they appreciate it. Is it available?
It's on iTunes. You can buy it on iTunes. There are certain like things that got cut out of the show that like we got in trouble for. They got banned from the internet. You can only get on iTunes.
Oh, really?
So if you want to see everything that like I got in trouble for, you gotta buy it on iTunes.
What kind of stuff would you get in trouble for?
Shark Party was a big thing I got in trouble for. I like sharks and I'm all about shark conservation. And I hate when there's like a shark attack and people get all upset, but we kill millions of sharks every year.
Yeah.
So I did like a dance like celebrating this guy dying, but it was actually a guy who died.
Oh.
And when it went to New Zealand, they showed the guy's family what I did. And it became this huge thing where like Viacom is getting death threats from New Zealanders, and they were pretty upset at me for that. I stand by it. I think it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when it becomes a real person, I guess that's where it gets. I thought it was just like, you know.
But it's always a real person.
It is always a real person.
There's always someone there. It's like, oh, it's too soon. Well, what do I gotta wait a week?
It does puzzle me when people get mad at animals for acting like, I don't know, animals. Mm-hmm. You know, oh, he had a pet lion that mauled him. You shouldn't have a fucking pet lion.
Nobody really gets mad at the lion for stuff like that.
They do. We got to put it down. Why?
It's just fun to put down lions, I think, at the end of the day.
I think if they just hold it in the corner and insult it a little, that's great.
That's why they have the stool, yeah. So you can do 10 minutes.
I'd like to thank my friend Anthony Jeselnik for being here today.
Not your friend.
Tune in another time, and I don't want to say who we're going to have, but I can guarantee you they're going to be breathing. This is like the ending of Police Squad, where they would just...
Where's that one?
Apologies, no offense meant. Personally find both men charming.
Hashtag LOL still hate the Jews. That's what I assume he's talking about.
That's it.